The stars drifted slowly beyond the windows of the Resolute Dawn, a human exploration ship assigned to the Halvor Belt. Captain Aaron Vale stood at the command deck, hands behind his back, looking at the strange asteroid field outside. The Halvor Belt was not just a region of space. It was a border. Beyond it lived the Halvor, the species that humans sometimes called space orcs because of their tall, powerful bodies and their warrior culture. For years, the Halvor and the humans had not been at peace. Skirmishes happened, small battles were fought, but never a full war. Now a fragile truce hung between them. Aaron's ship had been chosen for a special mission. They were to meet with a Halvor envoy on a neutral outpost called Cathrall Station. The goal was to keep the truce alive. Aaron was not a man who liked showy words or empty promises. He had been chosen because he was steady, calm, and respectful. Even though he was young for a captain, his reputation for empathy and fairness had reached high command. As he stared into space, he thought of the strange request that had come through encrypted channels a week ago. The Halvor had not just invited a meeting, they had asked for him by name. The Resolute Dawn slipped past the final asteroid and approached Cathrall Station. The outpost was carved from a rock, half metal and half stone, its halls dimly lit with blue firelight. Docking clamps extended like the claws of some giant machine. Aaron's first officer, a woman named Commander Rhea, stood beside him. "You're sure about this, sir?" she asked quietly. "I'm sure," Aaron said. His voice was low but firm. "We have to try. If we don't talk to them, the war begins again." Rhea nodded, but her eyes stayed worried. "Halvor don't invite humans without a reason." "Be careful," the airlock hissed open. Aaron walked through the metal corridor into the Halvor side of the station. His boots echoed on the floor. The walls were decorated with large carvings of Halvor heroes. They looked like giant warriors holding spears, but their faces were carved with calm dignity rather than anger. At the end of the hall stood Karith. She was taller than any human Aaron had ever met, her skin a deep bronze with faint green undertones like a forest under sunlight. Her black hair was braided with silver rings that caught the dim blue light. Her eyes were large and steady, the color of old copper. She wore ceremonial armor, but it was smooth and elegant rather than spiked or threatening. When she saw Aaron, she bowed her head slightly. "Captain Vale," she said, her voice deep but gentle. "You came," Aaron inclined his head. "Envoy Karith. I promised I would." They walked together into a round chamber lined with dark stone benches. A small pool of water shimmered in the center, a sign of neutrality in Halvor culture. Two guards stood far away at the doors, leaving the two of them a measure of privacy. Karith spoke first. "Your people see mine as monsters. I know this. You call us space orcs." Aaron's lips pressed together. "Some do," he admitted. "But I don't." She tilted her head, studying him. "Why not?" He thought for a moment. "Because every culture has its history. Yours values strength and legacy. Ours values adaptability and curiosity. Neither is a crime." A slow smile touched her lips. "You are different from other human commanders." They spoke for a long time. Karith explained how her people were changing. Old leaders wanted war to preserve honor, but younger generations like herself wanted something else, a future without constant fighting. Aaron listened carefully, asking questions, showing respect. He noticed her hands as she spoke. They were large and strong, but moved with surprising grace, almost like a musician's. After an hour, Karith asked the guards to leave. When the heavy door shut, she leaned closer, her expression serious. "I did not invite you here only to discuss borders," she said. "There is something greater at stake." Aaron's brow furrowed. "Go on," Karith took a deep breath. "Let us have a child together." The words hung in the air, heavy and strange. Aaron blinked. "I don't understand," he said finally. "You and I?" "Yes." Her voice did not tremble. "A child between human and Halvor. A child of two worlds," he stared at her. "That isn't possible. Our species are completely different." Karith looked at him steadily. "Perhaps. But our scientists believe there may be a way. The old ones of my world speak of a time when our people and yours were not so far apart. The genes remain. You are adaptable. We are strong. Together we may bring forth a being that ends this cycle of hatred." Aaron stepped back slightly, his heart pounding. He was trained for diplomacy, not this. "Why me?" "Because you respect us," Karith said softly. "Because you came without weapons drawn. Because you might be the one who believes." Aaron turned to look at the shimmering pool of water. His own reflection stared back, pale and uncertain next to the faint reflection of Karith's tall figure. "And if I say no?" he asked quietly. "Then we return to the old path," she said. "My people will see your refusal as proof that humans wish only for war. But if you say yes," she paused, her eyes flickering with something like hope. "If you say yes, we have a chance to heal two worlds." He tried to imagine it. A child born of two species, a symbol that could unite two cultures. It sounded like myth, not reality. Yet something in Karith's eyes made him hesitate. "Karith," he said slowly, "if this is possible, it will take more than our decision. It will take science, permission, trust, and it will take time." She inclined her head. "I know." Silence fell between them. The soft hum of the station's engines filled the chamber. Finally, Aaron said, "Tell me everything." Karith began to explain. The Halvar had mapped the human genome decades ago, searching for patterns they had lost in their own DNA. They believed that long ago, a common ancestor had seeded both species with adaptable traits. They had developed warriors. Humans had developed explorers. But the core of life, the seed of adaptability, still existed in humans and was dormant in the Halvar. With advanced technology, a union could be attempted, not through traditional birth but through an engineered gestation pod. Aaron listened, still trying to steady his thoughts. "You're saying you want to create a hybrid?" "Yes, but not a weapon. A living bridge," Karith said. "A symbol. A hope." He ran a hand over his face. "You realize what Earth would say? What your own people would say?" "Yes," Karith said again. "That is why we must speak quietly for now." Aaron's eyes met hers. "And if it fails?" "Then at least we tried," she said simply. He looked at her then, really looked at her. Her tall frame, her bronze-green skin, her steady copper eyes. She was nothing like him. And yet she was like him. She wanted peace, a future beyond war. When he spoke again, his voice was quieter. "I will consider it. But I must speak to my science team first." Karith nodded. "I expected nothing less. But know this, Captain Vale. I believe you are the one who can make this choice. I believe you are the one who can hold two worlds in his hands." They walked back toward the docking hall. Outside, the stars shone cold and bright, silent witnesses to the strange conversation. As they reached the airlock, Karith paused. "Your people call us space orcs," she said. "But in our language, Kahalvor means keepers of the long path. Perhaps we have both been walking toward this moment for a long time." Aaron said nothing, but the words stayed with him as he boarded the Resolute Dawn. In his private quarters later, he stared at the blank wall screen. The request echoed in his mind. Let's have a child together. It was absurd, impossible, dangerous, but also, perhaps, the only way to save billions from another century of conflict. He closed his eyes and imagined a child with human eyes and Halvor strength. A child who might walk both worlds without fear. He opened his eyes again. "Computer," he said quietly. "Secure channel to Dr. Lena Chen. I need a private consultation." The screen blinked. "Channel ready," the computer said. Aaron took a deep breath. "Begin transmission." As the connection linked, the ship drifted quietly near the edge of the asteroid belt. Far below, Cathrall Station hung like a jewel in darkness, and on it waited Karith, the envoy who had dared to propose the impossible. The Resolute Dawn moved silently beyond the Halvor belt. Inside, Captain Aaron Vale sat at a small round table in the ship's science lab. Across from him sat Dr. Lena Chen, the ship's chief xenobiologist. She had sharp, thoughtful eyes and a habit of tapping her fingers against her tablet when she was thinking hard. Aaron had already told her everything. The private meeting. The strange request. The words Karith had spoken, "Let's have a child together." He expected Dr. Chen to laugh or at least frown, but she didn't. She only listened, her head tilted slightly. "You're serious," she said finally. "Yes," Aaron replied. She was serious, and she claims their scientists have studied our DNA for decades. Dr. Chen leaned back in her chair, considering. "On a purely scientific level, it's improbable. Humans and Halvor diverged a very long time ago. But," she stopped tapping her fingers, "we have seen stranger things in this galaxy. Convergent evolution, ancient seeding, shared traits among species that should have nothing in common." Aaron raised an eyebrow. "So you're saying it's possible?" "I'm saying it's not immediately impossible," Dr. Chen said. "But it would take technology far beyond ordinary reproduction. A gestation module. Genetic editing. Perhaps something like a blank template where both sets of DNA can be combined and stabilized. Aaron rubbed his forehead. Kareth believes this could be a symbol for peace. A living bridge, Dr. Chen gave him a low. The Resolute Dawn drifted quietly near the edge of the Halvor belt. In its lower decks, Dr. Lena Chen worked inside a bright, sealed laboratory. Around her floated holograms of genetic strands, soft blue against the white walls. She wore a thin glove over one hand as she guided a small robotic arm. Inside a transparent chamber sat a nutrient pod no bigger than her palm. Captain Aaron Vale stood on the other side of the glass, hands clasped behind his back. His face was calm, but his eyes were alert. The room hummed softly with the sound of processors and life support pumps. "Are you sure about this?" he asked quietly. Dr. Chen didn't look up. "I'm as sure as I can be. The cells have merged. It's holding steady." Aaron exhaled. "That's more than I expected." Dr. Chen gave a small smile. "Me too. It had taken weeks to reach this point. First came the careful alignment of DNA, then the stabilization of the combined cells inside a gel lattice. Now a faint spark of cell division had begun. It was not a child, not even an embryo, but it was the first proof that human and Halvor cells could cooperate under controlled conditions. Aaron leaned closer to the glass. The tiny pod pulsed gently like a slow heartbeat. "It's so small," he murmured. "Every life starts small," Dr. Chen said. "If this survives the next 48 hours, we can start the next phase." "What's that?" "Building a larger gestation chamber," she said. "One that can host more than a cluster of cells." Aaron nodded slowly. "Do it, but quietly. No one else can know yet." On Cathrall Station, Kareth received Aaron's coded message. She stood alone in a dim chamber lit by faint green firepots. Her copper eyes scanned the text. "First cell cluster stable. Next phase beginning." A faint tremor passed through her. She closed her eyes, pressing one large hand against the carved stone wall. "It begins," she whispered. But she was not alone for long. Miralan entered carrying a tray of steaming liquid. "I brought you herbal tea," Miralan said softly. "You look tired." Kareth accepted the cup. "Thank you." Miralan hesitated, then asked, "Is it true what Elder Torkesh says? That you are giving our secrets to the humans?" Kareth looked at her friend carefully. "I am sharing hope, not secrets." Miralan sat down across from her. "They are afraid. They think you are trying to weaken us." Kareth sipped the tea slowly. "No, I'm trying to make us stronger." "But not through war." Miralan tilted her head. "Stronger how?" "By building something neither side can destroy," Kareth said. "A life, a bridge." Miralan's eyes widened. "You really believe it can work?" Kareth's copper eyes softened. "I must believe. Or else what have all these years been for?" Meanwhile, on the Resolute Dawn, Dr. Chen reviewed new data. She saw something unexpected. The hybrid cells produced an unusual energy signature in their mitochondria, stronger than normal. They adapted quickly to shifts in temperature and nutrients. She recorded her notes. Subject shows accelerated adaptation, possibly unique emergent trait. Aaron entered the lab. "What is it?" Dr. Chen gestured to the hologram. "This adaptation rate. It's higher than in either species. This could be what the Halvor lost on and what humans still have." Aaron frowned. "Is that good?" "Potentially," Dr. Chen said. "It means the hybrid could be even more resilient than we imagined. But it also means unpredictable changes." Aaron rubbed his chin. "We're walking on unknown ground." "Yes," she said softly. "But every step so far has held." On Earth, whispers began to spread. A corporate group that monitored the Resolute Dawn's transmissions detected anomalies. Their analysts speculated about secret technology or weapons research. They dispatched a small covert team to follow the ship's movements. The Resolute Dawn's crew noticed nothing unusual, but Commander Rhea grew uneasy. She sensed her captain was holding something back, yet she didn't press him. She simply watched and waited. Back on Cathrall Station, Elder Torkesh sent a message to the Halvor High Council accusing Kareth of betrayal. He included fragments of intercepted data, nothing conclusive, but enough to raise suspicion. The council responded by ordering Kareth to return home immediately. She refused. One evening, Aaron received a secure call from Kareth. Her image flickered on his screen, shadows under her eyes. "They are calling me back," she said. "They say I have betrayed the council." Aaron's jaw tightened. "Will they force you?" Perhaps, Kareth said, but I will not leave. Not until we finish what we began. He stared at her image. That's dangerous, she gave a faint smile. So is peace. Inside the Resolute Dawn's lab, the cell cluster reached a milestone. It formed a primitive neural crest, a tiny, shimmering line of cells that hinted at future complexity. Dr. Chen almost didn't believe her instruments. She called Aaron immediately. Captain, you need to see this. He arrived within minutes. What am I looking at? She pointed. This is organization. These cells are self-assembling faster than expected. Aaron stared. It's alive. It's always been alive, Dr. Chen said softly. But now it's trying to become something more. The next day, Kareth secretly left Cathrall Station aboard a small shuttle to meet Aaron in person. They chose a hidden asteroid cavern as their meeting point, far from sensors. When she entered the cavern, the light of a portable lamp fell across her bronze-green skin. Aaron stood waiting, wearing a simple flight suit. You shouldn't have come, he said quietly. I needed to see, she replied. He led her to a secure container. Inside floated the nutrient pod holding the hybrid cells. The faint pulse inside it cast soft shadows on the cavern walls. Kareth leaned closer, her eyes widening. It is beautiful, she whispered. Aaron nodded. It's working. For a moment, neither spoke. The quiet of the cavern felt like a temple. Finally, Kareth said, If this succeeds, our people will have no choice but to see each other differently. Aaron looked at her. That's the hope, she turned to him. And if they destroy it, then we try again, Aaron said softly, until we succeed. Back aboard the Resolute Dawn, Dr. Chen detected an unauthorized signal brushing against their encrypted channel. Someone was trying to eavesdrop. She locked down the lab and alerted Aaron. We have to move the project off-ship, she said. It's not safe here anymore. Aaron thought for a long moment. We'll transfer it to a mobile lab. No records, no coordinates. On Cathrall Station, Miralan brought Kareth a secret warning. They're sending enforcers, she whispered. Torkesh convinced the council you've gone too far. Kareth's copper eyes hardened. Then I must go into hiding. Where? With the only people who will protect what we've built, Kareth said. With the humans. In the Resolute Dawn's lab, the hybrid cells began to emit faint bioluminescence, a soft blue-green glow. Dr. Chen recorded it carefully. Self-sustaining energy field forming, she wrote. Possibly adaptive radiation shield. She whispered to herself. You really are something new. Aaron met Kareth again in secret. She handed him a data crystal. This contains all the Halvar research. If they capture me, you must continue without me. Aaron closed his hand over it. I'm not leaving you behind. Kareth looked at him steadily. You may have no choice. That night, Aaron walked the ship's observation deck alone. The stars glimmered silently. He remembered his first day aboard the Resolute Dawn and how simple the mission had seemed then. Negotiate. Keep the truce. Return home. Now he was standing at the edge of something much larger. A new kind of life. A new future, he whispered. Don't let me fail you. He wasn't sure if he was speaking to Kareth, to the child that might exist someday, or to himself. The hybrid cells survived another cycle and reached a stage equivalent to a primitive embryo. Dr. Chen moved it into a larger gestation module lined with adaptive biogel. Tiny sensors monitored every pulse. She sent a brief coded message to Aaron. Transfer complete. Subject stable, growing. Aaron read it and allowed himself a small smile. Against all odds, the impossible was happening. On Cathrall Station, Kareth packed her few belongings into a travel bag. Miralan helped her, eyes anxious. They will come soon, Miralan whispered. I know, Kareth said. You could still return to the council, Miralan urged. You could beg forgiveness. Kareth's copper eyes were calm. Forgiveness for hope? No. She placed one hand over Miralan's. Thank you for standing by me. Miralan blinked back tears. I will keep your secret as long as I live. Kareth gave a faint smile. Then our future already has allies. Far from both ships and stations, in the darkness of a drifting asteroid cavern, a faint pulse glowed inside a sealed pod. The first heartbeat of a future not yet born, a secret carried between two civilizations that had once called each other monsters. Kareth's shuttle drifted silently through the shadowed debris of the fractured moon. a place where jagged rocks hung in orbit like broken teeth. The dim light of a distant sun glinted off the edges, painting the rocks with cold silver. Inside the cabin, Karith sat quietly, hands folded, her eyes steady despite the tension. She knew the Halvor enforcers were on their way. Elder Torkesh had convinced a faction of the council that her actions were dangerous. They believed she had betrayed the Halvor people by sharing secrets with the humans. Now she was a target. A soft chime echoed from the control panel. Aaron's voice came through the secure channel. "Karith, I'm here. Dock your shuttle in the cavern entrance. I'll guide you." Karith nodded, though Aaron could not see it. "Understood," she said. Outside, the moon's surface was fractured and uneven. Aaron's small reconnaissance ship hovered near OCR. The hybrid pod pulsed quietly in the hidden cavern, casting soft blue-green light across the jagged walls. Captain Aaron Vale stood nearby, hands resting on the edge of the observation panel, his mind racing with calculations, possibilities, and responsibilities. For weeks, the pod had grown steadily, the hybrid cells forming patterns that resembled primitive neural structures. Beside him, Karith watched intently. Her tall frame was tense, but her copper eyes were calm. "It's remarkable," she whispered. "Even in the earliest stages, it's adapting." Aaron nodded. "It's more than adaptation. It's learning, in a sense, responding to the environment, adjusting its energy flow. This could be the first truly sentient hybrid." Dr. Lena Chen adjusted the monitoring array, her fingers dancing over holographic controls. "We've never seen anything like this," she said. "It's not just combining traits. It's creating something new, something neither human nor Halvor alone could produce." Karith placed a careful hand on the pod's exterior. "If it survives, it will be a symbol, but also a responsibility." Aaron met her gaze. "We knew that from the start. But now it's real. Not theory, not data, real." Outside, the fractured moon remained a desolate wasteland, jagged rocks suspended in orbit like frozen debris. Patrol ships scoured the surface, but Aaron had carefully chosen a cavern hidden from all known detection methods. Still, the threat of discovery loomed. Aaron turned to Dr. Chen. "We need to prepare for transport. The pod will eventually need a full biolab with gravity simulation and enhanced life support." She nodded. "I've already designed a mobile containment unit. It's stable enough to move, but we must be careful. Any sudden shock could disrupt development." Karith crossed her arms. "Then we move before the council discovers our location." Aaron agreed. "Tomorrow, first light. We'll transport the pod to the orbital ship, quietly." That night, Aaron stood alone at the cavern entrance, looking out at the blackness of space. Stars shimmered in the distance, silent witnesses to their secret. He thought about the mission, the risks, and the life growing quietly in the pod. A soft chime alerted him to a secure communication. Karith's face appeared, her expression serious. "They're mobilizing," she said. "Torkesh has convinced others that I'm endangering the Halvor. They're sending enforcers to capture me." Aaron's jaw tightened. "We expected this. We move first light." "No hesitation," Karith nodded. "Agreed, but there is something else. Miralan has uncovered internal divisions in the council. Not all agree with Torkesh. Some may support our cause if we survive the extraction." Aaron allowed himself a faint smile. "Then we have a chance, however small." Morning came, pale and sharp in the cavern. Aaron's team prepared the mobile containment unit, carefully transferring the pod with robotic arms to avoid jostling it. The hybrid cells pulsed rhythmically, as if aware of the movement. Karith assisted, her large hands precise despite their size. "It's incredible how fragile and strong it is at the same time," she whispered. Dr. Chen nodded. "Fragile in biology, strong in adaptation. That's why this will succeed where no one expects it." Aaron oversaw the operation, his eyes constantly on the scanners. Outside, the patrols were still combing the moon, unaware of the hidden cavern beneath their feet. The transfer completed successfully. The containment unit emitted a soft hum, life support system stabilizing the hybrid cells. Aaron exhaled. "One step closer. Now we just need to get it to the ship." Karith placed a hand on the unit. "And then the world will see that peace can be built, not fought for." Aaron hesitated. "Not yet the world. Only those who can protect it. One step at a time." Dr. Chen activated the mobile transport. "We're ready." They moved cautiously through the tunnels, the cavern echoing with soft mechanical hums and footsteps. Aaron led, Kareth followed, and Dr. Chen carried vital monitoring equipment. Their shadows stretched long and quiet under the faint glow of bioluminescent fungi. Suddenly, the scanners lit up. A Halvar scout had entered the outer tunnels, alerted by residual energy readings. Aaron whispered, "Hold position. Wait for my signal." The scout passed without noticing the group. Drawn away by a controlled energy decoy Aaron had prepared, the team exhaled in quiet relief. Kareth's eyes shone with resolve. "We cannot let them stop this." At the orbital ship, Aaron maneuvered carefully through the moon's debris field. The mobile unit floated inside the cargo bay, connected to the ship's life support systems. The hybrid cells pulsed steadily. Dr. Chen examined the containment unit. Stable, ready for the next stage. Kareth placed a hand on the glass. "I never imagined I'd see this. A new life. And not just any life. Something that could unite our people." Aaron nodded. "It's more than science. It's hope." Days passed in quiet observation aboard the ship. The hybrid cells developed primitive neural clusters, responsive to stimuli in the pod. Dr. Chen introduced controlled light, vibration, and energy pulses. The cells reacted subtly, pulsing faster or shifting their internal structure. Aaron watched, amazed. "It's learning," Dr. Chen smiled faintly. "Or at least adapting in ways we cannot fully predict. That's what makes it unique." Kareth remained close, observing the pod for hours. "It's not just a symbol," she said. "It is proof. Proof that life can bridge differences." Aaron placed a hand over hers on the containment unit. "And we protect it no matter what." However, trouble was never far away. Sensors picked up unauthorized signals in deep space, communications likely originating from Torkesh's faction. Aaron realized the Halvor Council was now aware of Kareth's location and, by extension, the hybrid cells. "We have company," Aaron said. "They may not attack openly, but they're watching." Kareth's eyes narrowed. "Then we must be ready. They cannot take this from us." Dr. Chen added, "We'll need to accelerate development. The sooner the hybrid reaches a sustainable stage, the safer it will be." Aaron nodded. "Prepare everything. We can't afford mistakes now." As the days passed, the hybrid pod grew more complex. Neural pathways began forming, small clusters resembling rudimentary sensory structures. The cells pulsed with increasing frequency, as if aware of the presence around them. Kareth whispered softly, "Do you feel that? Like it knows we are here?" Aaron glanced at the pod. "Perhaps. It senses our energy, our presence. But only in the most basic way. For now." Dr. Chen checked the monitoring arrays. "We're seeing emergent patterns, unusual for early-stage development. It's learning stability, adapting even faster than predicted." Kareth smiled faintly. "A bridge, yes. It is already bridging our differences." Tensions escalated when Aaron intercepted a Halvor message intended for Kareth. Torkesh's voice echoed in the encrypted channel. "She has betrayed her people. Secure the hybrid at all costs." "It is forbidden." Aaron's jaw tightened. "They're coming for us." Kareth's copper eyes shone with determination. "Then we fight if necessary. But we protect the child," Dr. Chen added calmly. "We have time, but we cannot delay much longer. The hybrid stability is increasing. Soon it will be resilient enough to survive minimal interference." Aaron exhaled. "Then we prepare." Both for development and defense, weeks passed. The hybrid pod continued to develop, pulsing with steady life. The containment unit became a mobile sanctuary, equipped with shields, energy dampeners, and gravity simulation. Aaron and Kareth monitored every pulse, every subtle shift, every neural flicker. Kareth spoke one evening, voice quiet in the observation room. "When it is born, it will be more than a child. It will be a message, a promise, that humans and Halvor can live together." Aaron looked at her. "And if the world does not accept it?" Kareth's gaze remained steady. "Then we show them the strength of life itself. They cannot deny the evidence of coexistence." Aaron nodded slowly. "Then we continue, no matter what comes." Far away in both human and Halvor territories, rumors began to spread of unusual energy signatures, strange transmissions, and whispers of something extraordinary hidden in space. But for Aaron, Kareth, and Dr. Chen, all that mattered was the small pod, pulsing quietly in the cargo bay. The first true symbol of unity. The child that could bridge two civilizations. It was no longer theory. It was life. And life, they knew, could change everything. The orbital ship floated silently in the shadow of the fractured moon, its hull reflecting faint glimmers of distant stars. Inside, the hybrid pod pulsed steadily, a small heartbeat in the quiet corridors. Captain Aaron Vale stood beside it, hands resting lightly on the transparent surface, watching as the cells inside continued to grow, their neural structures becoming more complex with each passing hour. Beside him, Karith's tall frame was tense but calm. Her copper eyes glowed softly in the dim light. "It is remarkable," she whispered. "Even at this stage, it is more resilient than we imagined." Dr. Lena Chen monitored the readings from multiple panels, her fingers dancing across the holographic controls. "We've reached the point where the hybrid could survive outside the containment unit for short periods," she said. "With careful care, we might begin limited interaction soon." Aaron nodded, a mix of pride and anxiety tightening his chest. "That means the next phase is critical. Any mistake could destroy everything we've built." Karith placed a hand on the pod, feeling the faint pulse of life. "We cannot fail. This is more than science now. It is hope." Weeks of careful observation had passed. The hybrid cells,